My name is Keith. I'm a voice guy, and in 5,000 orders, I've never done this. This is my personal endorsement for the SAHD Podcast. 3 years ago, I became a stay-at-home dad. I had no clue what to expect, how to handle it, underestimated the pressures, and I had no guide. I wish this podcast had been around when I was going through it. So without further ado, this is the SAHD Podcast. Bob has been a stay-at-home dad for almost 8 years. So on this show, you'll get dad's advice, shared experiences, product reviews, insight, inspiration, and most of all, we're gonna have fun. Lean back and enjoy it and share it with your friends. This is the SAHD Podcast, and this is your host, Bob.
What's going on, everybody, and thank you for tuning in to the first official episode of the SAHD Podcast. I just want to start off by saying, wow, thank you. I am truly humbled by all of the love and support that I received from the last little intro video I sent out. I really was not expecting that kind of reaction, so a big thank you. Really, truly appreciate it. And if you haven't checked out that video yet and you're just tuning in now, feel free to go ahead and check that out. It's a rough 10 minutes, but it breaks down how this podcast is going to be structured, what you can expect from upcoming episodes from here on out. All right, so let's get into it, shall we? We have the warm-up, which some good, some not so good, some funny. Then we have the press box, and we've got a couple questions from you guys, so feel free to submit some stuff. Ask questions. Really want that to be a good focal point. Anyway, then we're on to the headliner, where we discuss baby teeth, the tooth fairy, and the proper way of shooting out a loose tooth with a bow and arrow. So, and then we'll move on to the 7th inning stretch, where I have a badass diaper bag. I don't even want to call it a diaper bag. You should call it the dad bag, because that thing... Yeah, you can put diapers in it, but that thing will take you well beyond the diaper stage. So stick around for that. That's going to be fun. Then we head into the locker room where I have some shit that I want to get off my chest, and then we'll end on a dad joke. So let's get into it. Let's start with the obvious, Thanksgiving. And what a Thanksgiving it was. It was a good Thanksgiving. Actually, it was a great Thanksgiving. The turkey... Actually, all of the food was delicious. The turkey, though, was by far the juiciest turkey I have ever had. Not sure how my boy did it, but that thing was like a wet sponge. It was moist, it was tender, it was flavorful. It was just delicious. So, good job, bud. Also, the time between meals was great. I think we had like maybe an hour or two in between each meal. I've had Thanksgivings before where food was great, but it was just bang, 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 bang. And you just didn't have time to digest the food. But I like this one. This one was good. It was, you ate, and then after you ate, it was like an hour before the next, half an hour before the next meal came out. So you had time to digest, you had time to socialize, actually spend some quality time with everyone, instead of just having to talk to the person next to you. We were able to leave the table, hang out. It was good. Also, Santa stopped by after our main meal and did some pictures with Santa, and the kids loved it. Although I don't think Pappy really likes Santa. He's very protective of the kids, and I'm glad he is, but it's a gray area. Anyway, I had a feeling that Pappy was not going to handle a stranger dressed up coming into the house randomly. So I brought Pappy outside, had him meet Santa. He seemed fine, his tail was wagging, all that. And then I came inside, kind of let everybody know, hey, Santa's here. And so Santa comes up the stairs, and everybody's hollering and screaming, and all of a sudden Pappy sees Santa and just starts barking and growling, and he's kind of like lunging at him. And luckily I had him on a leash, and I never took the leash off of him after we went outside. But after a couple minutes, he finally like calmed down, and he was fine around Santa. But just that initial like, whew, I'm glad I had the leash on him. Otherwise, that would have been a really bad Thanksgiving. And I don't think I don't think the kids would have gone over that well. But anyway, Pappy finally settled down. Everybody started taking pictures, and actually everybody kind of was okay with Santa except for Braden. He cried every single picture. I don't think we really have any pictures of Santa and Braden not crying. So there's always next year. But I think Pappy was just over excited with with everybody. So, but I'm glad nothing bad happened. I couldn't imagine having Santa show up and then getting mauled in front of kids. That would have been very bad. That was Thanksgiving. Just prior to Thanksgiving, though, both my daughter and my son started getting sick. It was more just congestion. No real fever. Ella's school had been going virtual for the second time in like 2.5 weeks. And then I got sick for a few days. And then Braden just kept staying sick. He ended up having some fluid in his ear that was clear. And the doctor said that it may or may not turn into an ear infection, which it did. Outside of that, we all had a bout with the cold. I was out for a few days. Body aches. Could not, for the life of me, get warm. I was freezing. I had I had a hooded sweatshirt, sweatpants, 2 bathrobes, and at least 1 or 2 blankets, and I still could not get warm. And my back pain came back with a vengeance, and that sucked. But it was also good at the same time because I didn't realize how bad my back was until I got sick. I was just been tolerating it for so long. I just kind of got used to it. And then I had back injections, physical therapy, which I actually wrapped up. I think I wrapped up my physical therapy for the time being. But all that was doing well. My pain was down. I had flexibility. And then I got sick. And it was just like, oh my God, how have I tolerated this pain? And then I got better and the pain went down and subsided. But my wife didn't get sick. I'm glad. But she chalks it up to vitamin C supplements and zinc as well. I have my own theory as to why, but we'll table that for another discussion. She swears by it. I call it a placebo. Take it for what it's worth. But Ella was congested for a few days. That was it. And my son Braden, from the last video up until now, has been just miserable. His little congestion turned into high fever, sleepless nights. He ended up screaming in the middle of the night one night, and it was just like waves, just from like 10 o'clock at night to I want to say maybe 2 in the morning. It was just like, he would cry, and then he would tense up, scream, and then kind of calm down, relax, but still crying and just not wanting to fall asleep, just very uncomfortable. My wife thought it was a stomach ache. I thought it could have been a stomach ache, but it just seemed like there was something else going on, so we agreed to take him to, we called the doctor, and they said after about a half an hour, the Tylenol's not working, take him to the ER. So we took him to the ER. He had an ear infection at that time, which I would say right before Thanksgiving, he had some fluid in his ear. Like I said, it was, it could go away on its own, or it can turn into an ear infection, and it did. But the screaming that he did actually perforated his eardrum. So that's where the pain was coming from. And so now he's on amoxicillin, and I think he's starting to finally get better. So as soon as I started feeling better, I decided to tackle the yard work. And I've neglected most of the yard all year long. And normally I try to control the vines going around my shed so it looks nice and it's functional, because it keeps the 2 little metal gates that I have up on either side of the shed so the dogs can't go back there. I use the vines to kind of close everything up. It's a plastic lifetime shed. It's like 8 feet by 15 feet. So it's not small, but it's not big. The vines were just all over the shed, all up the side, going into the roof, going up through the bottom, kind of like peeling the pieces, kind of separating the pieces a little bit. So I did cut all the grass, trimmed all the hedges, and started tackling the vines. So I grabbed the hedge trimmer, since I already had it out, and started cutting away the vines from the shed and peeling them off of the shed. And so once I did both sides, I ended up I climbed the fence and put the hedge trimmer on top of the shed with the handle kind of, hooked onto the peak. And I got on the shed. As soon as I got onto the roof of the shed, the hedge trimmer slid down and went down in between the back of the shed and the retaining wall. Now, the way my yard's set up is it's 2 tiers. Here's my house. I have the lower part of the yard, steps, the upper part of my yard, and then the shed. And behind the shed is like a 15-foot, maybe 20-foot wall that supports the neighbor's yard. And the way my yard is located is there's houses all around. So it's kind of like a coliseum, so to speak. So anybody looking out the window was going to see what was about to happen, or could see what was going to happen. So anyway, the hedge trimmer fell down, and there's only like maybe 16 inches, 2 feet of space between the wall and the shed. So I tried to grab it real quick, and I ended up going head first, sliding down the roof. And luckily there wasn't enough space to where my hand stopped myself from falling down. So that was one funny thing. And then I ended up getting down. I kind of laughed, and I was going to take a picture, but the car keys were kind of like dangling out of my chest pocket. So I kind of just tucked everything in and zipped it up. Anyway, I got down, I had to go around the front and then go the long side to go into the back of the shed, because there's a fence, and there's just too many vines to kind of muscle my way through. So anyway, I'm trying to grab the hedge trimmers, but the teeth are actually facing me. And so I went to go grab, but luckily I was smart enough to not grab the teeth and just grab the center, so I can try to like lightly tug it towards me. But the trigger was all there. So the hedge trimmers have 2 handles on either side, or 2 triggers on either side of it. So you have to squeeze both, just from the outside, squeeze both to get it to start cutting. As I'm pulling the hedge trimmer towards me, the vines are catching the one side of the trigger. And the thing starts going. I dropped it. I freaked out, screamed like a little girl, backed off and It's like, I don't know how I'm going to do this. So I just kept doing that a couple times, and every time I'm still like, going, oh shit. So that was funny. And I wish I had it on camera, because if I was any of my neighbors and I was watching out, I'd be dying laughing. It's one of those Griswold things, I guess. Like I said, it was an eventful day, eventful week, and it was good times. Minus my son getting sick with the ear infection, I think it was a pretty good week overall. So now we're on to the press box. And I have some notes that I wrote down. Not notes, questions that were asked. One of them was, when are you going to call yourself the sod father? I'll admit that's pretty clever. But I don't like the idea of people giving themselves their own nicknames. I feel like you have to have a couple people to call you that before you can own that title. I don't know, that's just me. But I welcome the name, but I feel like I need a few episodes and I need to get into the routine before I accept anything like that. Yeah, I definitely need a few episodes before I can feel worthy of that kind of title. Moving on. Can you explain the picture of you and your family in front of the dinosaur? Where was that picture taken? So that picture, I'll throw it up here. So this picture was taken at the Philadelphia Zoo. And I believe it was Boo at the Zoo. Yeah, I think the Philadelphia Zoo had like a whole month in October where they were doing like a Boo at the Zoo. They basically trick-or-treating at the zoo. I had dressed up my dog as a lion, and I dressed up as a zookeeper. My wife dressed up... No, I'm sorry, my wife didn't dress up. My daughter dressed up as a kitten, or a black cat, and my son was dressed as a dinosaur. And I don't know if they still have it there, but the Philadelphia Zoo has a dinosaur section for life-size dinosaurs, which is actually pretty cool. And my son loves dinosaurs, so that's where that picture was taken. And then the other follow-up question was, you dressed up as a zookeeper and your dog as a lion at the zoo. How did that go over? That went pretty well. A lot of people actually thought that my dog, Pappy, was a real lion. And after, 5, 6 people asking, I decided to stop saying, no, it's just a dog. But a lot of people were reacting like, oh, it's a lion, hysterical. So anyway, after telling a few people that, no, it's a dog, it's not a real lion, I decided to get a little creative and a little clever.
Is that a real lion?
Yes, it's our new lion at the zoo, and I'm just getting him used to the area. So, yeah, the oh shit face. That was great. It was like 10 people that asked me that afterwards, and they all pretty much had the same reaction, like,
what? So there's lions walking around now?
Stupid. I definitely put the Boo in Boo at the Zoo. That's for sure. Especially walking through the lion section. That So when you walk through, you go in, and then it's like a little housing area, and you go in, and then you make a hard right, and then after about maybe 10 feet, then you can actually start seeing the lion. And I kid you not, the first step that you are able to see the lion, he was pinpointed right on me as if he knew we were coming in. I was just, I stood there for a minute, and I was like, do I go through? Do I don't go through? The lion was just looking. He was just laying down, nonchalant, just staring at us. So after a couple minutes of debating whether or not I should go through, I ended up going through, and lion didn't really move, didn't show any kind of, cause for concern, and so we just kept going. And then we got into another housing area where it's big glass window, and there are a bunch of people all up against the glass staring at the lion. And at some point, from not being able to see the lion anymore to seeing him in the window, he had changed 180. He was facing that way, laying down. Now he's facing this way, laying down, looking at the glass. And he doesn't see anybody in the window except for Pappy. So I kind of stood there for a minute just to see, and I'm in the way back. I'm not even up against the glass. I'm in the way back. So I'm, looking at the lion going, all right, let's see. If he reacts, then I'm going to leave. If he's not going to react, I'm just going to stay here and just admire the lion. It's my favorite animal. So, as people are trying to walk in, they're shitting themselves because they're expecting to see a lion through the glass window. They're not expected to see a lion as they walk in to the glass. So as they're reacting, people at the window are turning around and getting ready to leave. And when they turn around after staring at this big, massive lion, they turn around and they see this dog dressed as a lion. And like I said, everybody thought Pappy was a real lion. Not everybody. A lot of people, like, oh, that's an awesome costume. But most people were, reacting. And the people that reacted to seeing Pappy after staring at the lion through the safety of a thick glass was priceless. I've never seen oh shit faces like I saw that day. I saw a grown stocky man almost cry. I heard him scream like he had no testicles. It was fantastic. Loved it. So that was that was good. But they all got a laugh after, I told them it's not a real lion. I assured them that it wasn't a real lion at that point. But yeah, it was definitely something that I would definitely do again. That's for sure. But no harm, no foul. It was all in good fun. And I definitely recommend trick-or-treating at the zoo, especially if your neighborhood doesn't really have a lot of trick-or-treaters or a lot of people doing trick-or-treating. My neighborhood is mostly college kids, so they don't really do much trick-or-treating, just a lot of boozing and puking. So now that the meat has properly rested and the potatoes have cooled, let's get into the main topic of this episode. Baby teeth. They are both fun and the root cause of your sleepless nights. So first, let's get some basic facts out of the way. All right, so stage 1 is 0 to 6 months old. When babies are born, they actually already have their 20 primary teeth hidden beneath the gums, and they're actually hidden within the jawbones. Now, even though you can't see them yet, these baby teeth actually play an important role in nursing. These teeth are actually commonly referred to as milk teeth. And up to this point, a baby's diet consists of breast milk or formula. And the purpose of these milk teeth is to reserve a spot for the adult teeth that will grow in place of the baby teeth later on. So as the baby teeth emerge out of the jawbone, the adult teeth will actually fill in the gap in the jawbone. Now, stage 2 is 6 to 10 months old. During the stage, their baby teeth will actually start to push through. Usually it's the upper and lower incisors, which is, as you can see in this image, they are the front middle of the mouth. They actually begin to show around 6 months of age. Period of initial pain will actually occur a few months before these teeth actually become fully visible. And that's with all of their teeth that come through. That being said, prior to pushing through the gums, baby teeth may rub up against the gums as they begin to break through. And this is when the initial phase of teething begins. Now, typically, your baby will start placing things into their mouths like hands, feet, objects, toys. Please be careful during the stage. Actually, most of these stages, please be careful as they start to grab everything. Now, I have experience, unfortunately, with babies swallowing things that they're not supposed to. Now, one of the most common things I've had to deal with are babies swallowing or choking on things are small Legos, batteries, and coins. So please be mindful of what your child is putting in their mouth. Now, that aside, this pressure against the gums actually helps the baby relieve the pain, and it distracts their mind. So with that, start preparing proper teething items like cool washcloths or a soft, hard teething toy to ease their aching. One thing that we did a lot was we had a lot of like the gel teething tabs that you got from Target or any store really. They actually really got a lot of relief from the washcloths because the texture actually was a little bit abrasive and it was wet. So that was also a very big distraction for them. Now, during this time, the baby will begin to drool more often, so be sure to keep a bib on hand just to make sure that they dry their chin. A lot of excessive drool gathers around the mouth area, and you'll typically start seeing rashes. Moving on to stage 3, which is, it varies, can be 10 to 14 months, 10 to 16 months. It all depends on who you are talking to. During this age, the primary molars will actually start to come through the gums. Their molars are located in the back of the mouth, along the lower and upper jaw. This stage is similar to stage 2, but you will notice an obvious increase in symptoms like drooling, fussiness. It is also normal for babies to experience a small loss of appetite and a slight fever and occasional diarrhea. This stage also begins with the sleep regression for both babies and parents. This is due to the increased amount of pain that they experience. And both you and your baby, unfortunately, are going to start losing some sleep. Sleep regression occurs at every stage. Anytime a new tooth is starting to come through, when they're laying down and they're not distracted, that's when their teeth starts to bother them. However, the loss of appetite or the fever or the slight diarrhea becomes a cause for concern. Please do not take this as it's just a stage that he's going through. Please talk to your pediatrician. Some over-the-counter pain medication may be safe for the baby, but you also would want to talk to your pediatrician as well. I know for Ella, we used Highland's teething tabs. I don't think they actually worked. I think it was a placebo. However, we didn't use them with Braden. But that is one example of an over-counter thing that you may find helpful for you. And stage 4, which is, again, it varies with the group, but typically it's between 16 and 22 months old. However, it's really right around anywhere between 1 and 2 years. This is when, at this age, their fangs start to come in, the canine teeth. They are next to the top and bottom molars and incisors. And again, just like stage 2 and 3, same symptoms and the same teething recommendations can be applied to stage 4 just to keep them comfortable and happy. Stage 5, the hell stage I call it, my opinion, the worst stage. I think this is where the terrible twos come into play. And typically they can be anywhere from 22 months to 36 months old. Even though every child is different, most of you can agree, who already have kids, will back me up when I say this is the worst stage. I believe this is the beginning of terrible twos for a reason. At this stage, it is the most painful stage of teething for babies. Is when their largest teeth actually start to come in, and those teeth are the molars. Since these teeth are the biggest, you will actually start noticing that all of the teething techniques that you used up until this point probably will not work. You're going to have to bring out the big guns. Hard, small vegetables to chew on can be effective. If you want to try something similar, go right ahead. I think at this stage, once your child is 2 years old, you can actually start using Tylenol. Again, talk to your pediatrician, your child's dentist to see what they recommend. Now, before trying any soothing methods or products over the market, always supervise your baby when you're giving them something new to try, just to make sure that there's no choking or there's no excessive pain or any kind of allergic reaction to whatever you're giving them. Now, I know with my daughter, when she went through stage 5, there was absolutely nothing we can do except for Tylenol or Motrin. We tried everything under the sun and nothing worked. The tantrums were horrendous. She would get so worked up that she would actually throw up. She just wasn't able to calm her body down, and her muscles just started spasming, and she just upchucked. So just hang in there. It will pass. Stage 5 sucks. You're just going to have to embrace it and just know that it will pass. Now that we talked about all the 5 stages of teething, I briefly want to get into dental hygiene. It's important to talk to your child's dentist. Make sure you get that first appointment in as soon as you can, and they'll go over the proper care and proper technique of brushing. That being said, I'm going to throw up some pictures of what can happen if you don't actually start brushing your child's teeth. And when your child's teeth start coming in, it's always a good idea to get a small child's toothbrush and just start brushing their teeth. Even if they don't have the teeth coming in yet, get those areas as well. It'll help relieve some of the teething pain. I remember when Ella had her first dental appointment, I didn't really think anything much of the baby teeth because I just assumed they were going to fall out. So I didn't really need to brush the couple teeth that came in until I actually spoke with her dentist. And I'm glad I listened. Even though those teeth are going to fall out, it's important to take care of those teeth, because if they fall out prematurely or if they start getting bacteria and stuff can get in. And I believe that with all of your child's diet consisting of formula or breast milk, and especially when you start getting to the teething stage, you're giving them lots of fruits and hopefully lots of vegetables, but strawberries and apples, they all have a lot of sugar. Strawberries, apple juice, a lot of like high calorie items. So they're going to actually work a lot faster than what our normal diet is. So it's very important to stay on top of, brushing their teeth. Not to mention, it's going to get your kid into a routine, and it may also help with teething. Now, let's fast forward to when they start losing their teeth. Basically, the same order that the teeth came in is the same order that the teeth come out. Pretty basic. Now, let's talk about the fairy that comes and collects those teeth. Now, here's an important question. How is it that we have not changed the way the tooth fairy operates? I mean, come on. I thought the gold coin that the tooth fairy gave my daughter was generous. But apparently, should I say the tooth fairy, shortchanged my daughter. And that is according to the Tooth Fairy Index, TFI. Yes, apparently it's a real thing. Yes, the Tooth Fairy Index states how much you should give for said tooth. Sets the standard. Now, bear with me. I'm going to pull this up. Now, let's see here. So the Tooth Fairy Index, as of now, states the going rate in the U.S. is $5.72 for a tooth. Now, I'm not telling my daughter that, but seriously, there's a whole thing on this tooth fairy rate. It's ridiculous. Now, think about that for a second. Babies have, 20 teeth that fall out by the time they're 21? They should anyway have all 32 of their permanent teeth by then. So, if we do the math, that's 20 teeth, right? Times 572, that's $114.40. Okay, so that's not as much as I thought, but still, $115. And the price goes up every year. Well, most of the time, with the exception of a couple years, it looks like. It's actually tied to the S&P 500, so it's a collection of trends. But according to the chart, which I have here, and I'll try to pull it up so you guys can see it as well, it makes sense, I guess. The market goes up, people spend more on things. I don't know. Anyway, if you go to Delta Dental, they do have some pretty cool stuff on their website, such as a certificate for your child, a first tooth letter, any tooth letter, a letter for their last tooth that they lose. And they also have activities that you can download for your kid, like crossword puzzles, word finder, a maze, connect the dots. There's also a little story about the tooth fairy's origin. Fun fact though, the tooth fairy actually gets help from other fairy tales to help her reach around the world. There is a tooth rat that collects the tooth from the windowsill, and apparently the tooth rat is a distant cousin to the magical mouse from Argentina and Sweden. Now, like I said, this is all on Delta Dental's website, but it was a fun website that I found as I was, going through, my research with the tooth fairy and, Anyway, I think the child should have to pay $1 for the tooth fairy, put the dollar under the pillow with the tooth, and then that will ensure that your adult teeth come in healthy and strong. Plus, it translates for when they get older and they have to go to the dentist, and they have to pay a copay or they have to pay dental bills because, that's just life. So why not do that then?
Hey, I lost a tooth. Well, if I don't brush my teeth, then my teeth will fall out and I'll get more money.
It teaches the kids the importance of dental hygiene and probably cause less fighting getting your kids to brush their teeth. Not to mention all that pain and suffering that us parents have to go through when they are teething. At least it gives us a monetary value, the pain and suffering for us parents. When you're going through the teething stage, you can say that at least at some point I know this will pay off. The questions that your kids are going to come up with if you do get caught sneaking in there, not even if you do get caught, but what if your kid just starts asking random questions like, what does the tooth fairy do with all the teeth that she collects? You got to be Johnny on the spot with these answers. I've gotten, what happens if I wake up when the tooth fairy comes? What does the tooth fairy do with all of the teeth that she collects? Although I did hear a funny one. Somebody said, I don't remember where I saw it, but somebody said that they use the teeth for the elderly as dentures. I thought that was hysterical. But anyway, there's a bunch of random questions that the kid asks that you have to be on the spot and you have to act like you know. Anyway, I don't like it. Don't like the tooth fairy. You need to change it. I digress with the tooth fairy. That being said, with losing teeth, my daughter had lost her 2 front teeth, and she had her school pictures yesterday. So we made sure that she smiled for that. So we'll have that on record. She already lost her 2 bottom teeth to the tooth fairy last year, and now she lost her 2 upper teeth this year. Now, the first time she lost her bottom 2 teeth, we tried to tie a string to a Nerf bow and arrow and failed miserably. I had screwed up so badly that I actually caused her to bleed a little bit. Not much, just a little bit. I mean, it wasn't gushing blood, but it bled enough to know that it was just a little painful. Plus, she hates the sight of blood, let alone the thought of it. Now, like I said, this was a Nerf bow and arrow, and it had a giant foam pad on the front of the arrow. And I didn't want to have to search 30-some yards for a tooth, for the tooth fairy. I didn't want to have to search, more than a few feet for a tooth just to hand it over to the tooth fairy. Plus, it was done indoors, so I didn't want to break anything and have to pay more money than I already was going to. Anyway, the first go around, I had the string pressed between my thumb and her chin. Now, I didn't pay attention to my hand or where my hand was because I was more focused on making sure that she wasn't aiming at anything that was breakable and was intently watching the tooth. So, first official attempt, she shot the arrow with my thumb pressed up against the string, which was pressed up against her chin. And there just wasn't enough snap in the line to actually yank the tooth out. Now, yes, we could have done the door thing where you tie the string to the tooth and then tie it to the door and wham, slam the door. But, I mean, where's the fun in that, really? Now, this gave a hard tug to the tooth and it caused a little bit of bleeding. I'm not going to lie. But it didn't really hurt her as much as it scared her. But it still caused a little bit of trauma to the tooth. Now, before I go any further, I want to clear something up. I did ask her if she wanted to shoot the bow and arrow. If she really, really, really wanted to do this. Matter of fact, she was more excited than really anybody should be when they do that. But we were super excited about the idea. So after the first attempt, and we failed miserably, she wanted to try it again. So we did, and we failed again. However, I guess this time we didn't tie the string tight enough or farther up on the gum line. Either way, the tooth didn't come out. So this went on a couple more times before I just called it quits. I just wiggled it out with my hand, and she was unamused to say the least. We were both bummed, and I promised her that we would definitely do it the next time her tooth was ready to fall out. I told her the bottom teeth would just practice anyway. So, fast forward, and this time around, she wanted to shoot her 2 front upper teeth with the bow and arrow again. And so, I tied a tighter knot. I went way up on the gum line, really cranked down on the tooth, and just like the bottom 2 teeth, I thought we were going to be on a repeat again. These 2 top teeth were looking like the bottom teeth. First attempt, string, the knot came out. Second attempt, the knot actually just slipped off the tooth. Third attempt, I think we were too close to the refrigerator because it shot out, hit the fridge, and then as the arrow was falling down the ground, then it started to tug. So made the line shorter, and then I noticed that when that happened, her tooth started wiggling side to side as well. And I noticed that that was really going to start to come out. And so I had tied the string up over the top and then tightened it down. And then we got ourselves set and ready to go. Now, I was trying to film this with both my GoPros and my phone. And I wish I knew how to work the GoPro settings a little bit better than obviously now I know, but at the time, I didn't really know that I could go super slow motion with it. So I wish I had done the super slow-mo with the GoPro. But after like the third or fourth attempt, I was just like, all right, we're done with the cameras. Let's just focus on shooting the bow and arrow, or shooting the tooth out with the bow and arrow. So one way or another, this tooth was coming out with the bow and arrow. Now, I didn't want to hurt her or her gums, and I also felt that her tooth was loose enough that it would work. So now that I have it wrapped around the tooth, I was confident that this tooth was coming out. And I honestly thought that the weight of the string was going to cause the tooth just to fall out. And wouldn't you know, the damn tooth was still in her mouth. No, I'm kidding. It shot right across the room. It was awesome. And we were both so excited. She was jumping up and down, and she dove right into where the tooth was. She was so happy and so proud of herself for doing that. But we were just so excited that we did it for the other tooth, and we didn't even pay attention to the cameras. So just like the bottom two teeth, the tooth fairy gave her 2 gold $1 coins for each tooth, and that was that. And that's how you properly shoot a tooth out with a bow and arrow. Just make sure you have it looped up around the top, way up on the gums, like you're flossing. Anyway, I want to know from you, what did you or what do you plan on doing for your kid? What did your parents do for you? Is it an RC car, doorknob? How is it different when you lost yours? For me, I had a mouth when I was little, so I think my dad just let the neighborhood kids take care of it. Nah, I'm kidding. I think my dad used a doorknob. I have to ask him. Pretty sure it was a doorknob. Anyway, that's it for the meat and potatoes of this episode. All right, welcome to the 7th inning stretch. This product is from Tactical Baby Gear. This is Tactical Baby Gear's Daypack 3.0. And if you want a diaper bag that is going to last well beyond the diaper stage, then look no further and check this out. I had a diaper bag for my first child. It functioned perfectly for me until I no longer needed a diaper bag, but needed a jump bag for the park or the playground, and that bag just didn't fit the bill. Let me tell you, this bag works for both my kids. One is in diapers, the other one is well out of diapers. If I go anywhere, I can throw in some bubbles, some coloring books, crayons, colored pencils, a magazine for me, snacks, and still pack out all the essentials such as diapers, baby wipes, and a first aid kit. Not to mention, if you go for walks and take your dog and your kids, this allows you to walk your dog on a leash without the need for hands or having a leash that buckles around your waist. Also, this bag has clips right here that you can hang on to the shopping cart handles, so that way you don't take up space in the shopping cart. Now, before we dive into this bag, I just want to go over some specs first. This bag will run you $140, but trust me, I don't regret buying it, and I bought this about 2 years ago. Well worth the price, as this bag has a lifetime warranty. According to the website, this bag is water resistant. Not 100% sure how resistant they claim it is, but I can say for sure that if you're going a couple blocks and it's pouring outside, the contents of your bag will stay dry. The other thing that the company claims is that this bag is an approved carry-on bag, which I can see that. The last time I was on a flight was before Braden was born. I didn't have the bag then, but the bag I did have was similar in size. I don't have that bag as it fell apart and no longer functions, hence not needing to buy another bag every year or two. I'll also throw up an image with the dimensions as well. This bag also has heavy YKK zippers, which after years of use have not kinked, broken, or binded up on me. They're very smooth, and all you need to know about the YKK zippers, that they are the industry standard for zippers. the Rolex of zippers, if you will. And the shoulder straps are built with closed foam cell technology. All that means for you is that it's not going to absorb moisture such as sweat, so no stink there. Also, it means that it is resistant to weather aging. Won't dry or crack like most foam. Now, if you ever had a pair of sneakers for a while, you'll notice that the foam near the bottom of the sole will actually break down over time and become brittle. Actually, before I go any further, I do need to make correction. I do use this as a diaper bag. However, Tactical Baby Gear has an actual diaper bag that looks more like a duffel bag. This is actually the Daypack 3.0, and the extra pouches that you see here run about $26 each. This bag has 2 zippers in the front that run on either side, one here, one here. Doesn't matter if you're righty or lefty, you can access the pocket from both sides for quick access. So if you're righty, just swing it over, unzip, pull out. Again, unzip. It would help if I unzip the right. Unzip, pull out, and I just realized that it could be kind of dirty. This is the Dad Podcast. You can get a little dirty here. Now, moving on, if you have something like a yoga mat or some towels, scooter, whatever doesn't fit in the bag, if you're creative enough, you can slide in here. I actually used this for my daughter's scooter. I just shoved the part in there, zippered it down, and we walked about 5 or 6 blocks. That way I could take my daughter, the dog, and the scooter and safely cross the street and not worry about traffic. Now, I'm all about having my hands available. There's also 2 clips up top that you can use as well for that very reason. Beach towels, blankets, what have you. As long as they're not too thick, it should be able to fit in there. However, these clips are actually, like I said earlier, designed to hook into a shopping bag or your stroller. Although, depending on how much you have in here, it might tip the stroller backwards. So be careful with that. But a shopping bag or a shopping cart, perfect. Put it in, hang it in the cart. Good to go. It also has 2 bottle pouches on either side. One here and one here, with molly webbing on both, as you can see here. Even with the molly webbing on, I can still throw in a bottle, and it doesn't restrict the expanding nature of the pocket, if you will. You also have molly webbing on the front. I'll try to throw up a picture. I don't feel like taking this out, but I'll try to throw up a picture. Oh, screw it, why not? All right. You got your molly webbing on the front. You have some molly webbing on the side. And you also have molly webbing on the other side. You can purchase everything that you see right here in front of you, minus these little attachments and the patches. This patch right here comes with the bag. There's also one that says Mommy. so it's not just for dads. So this bag also has a built-in water bladder with an insulated straw. This bladder holds up to 72 ounces of water. So fill it with whatever you want. I have a small cooler from them for the kids, but for this guy, I'll fill this up with water, iced coffee, if you like cold brew, iced tea. I wouldn't recommend putting alcohol in here, as you may not be able to get the smell out. But you can put whatever you want in it, and then a small little cooler for the kiddies. You also have this fun little changing pad. On the back that folds up. Another thing that surprised me was that this small hidden pocket you have this cool little zipper pocket in the back. If you ever gone through the mall, park, amusement area, sports complex with your kids, you know how nervous it can be with your personal belongings. Tossing your wallet, valuables, what have you in here, in this little hidden pocket, and I'll demonstrate how that's effective. So if you need to go somewhere, grab something, you unzip, stick your hand in, pull it up. Let's see if I have, here's my phone. Put my phone in the pocket. So you just unzip, pull your phone out, or your wallet. Put it back in, and zip it up. Now that keeps your valuables from sticky fingers. I have a hard time with crowds, and this is just one less thing that I have to worry about. You also have a small pouch on the top for anything valuable that you don't want scratched up, such as your phone, sunglasses. I mainly use this for my sunglasses. Smartwatch, anything that you just don't want scratched. It actually has a soft felt pocket. But anyways, it's nice to be able to put something in your bag and not worry about it scratching. Now, inside this bag, we have another set of dual zippers for quick access. All my stuff. Again, if you're reaching from the top, or you reach in from this way. Boom. Another dual set of side pockets. As you see, I have diapers in mine, this one, but you can do diapers, sippy cups, whatever. And various pockets at various depths. I put my snacks in here, in this little pouch. But I also put kids' coloring books, magazines, whatever. However, if you don't like the tactical look and you want something a little bit more sleeker and more modern, but still want all the same features, go check out their Mod Diaper Bag Backpack, me, I care more about functionality than looks. Plus, this wasn't available at the time I bought it. So, I did see that they have a 10% discount code, Holiday10. They have a ton of great products. Perfect time to shop. So go check them out. I'll leave a link in the description. So that's it for this bag. I am not sponsored by this company. It's my own personal review after 2 years of use. Tactical baby gear. Go check them out. Highly recommend it. Well worth it. That's it. Welcome to the locker room. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode so far. Hope you got some useful information out of the headliner. I know I learned a couple things doing that. As far as warm-up goes, I have a ton more stories that fall in line with the shed. So I hope you got some laughs with that. Hope you enjoyed the product review. If you have that Daypack, let me know in the comments. I would love to hear what you guys think about it. And also, one thing I did forget to mention about the product review is that this bag has, I don't know what you want to call this, a rope or a handle that runs from top of one side all the way down to the other, and you can grab it basically from, you can grab this bag basically from any which way you can. So for me, I put this bag behind my son's car seat on the floor, and I put it in like that, and then I just grab my son, grab the bag, slide it out like a suitcase, and it makes things so much quicker and easier pulling my son out and the stroller and the dog and everything else. So with that being said, yeah, I love that bag. It served me well, and I'm going to continue to use that as my own personal bag once the kids, no longer need me. Boo. Now, I know this episode may be long. As I was recording this, I was about an hour into the video, and I think at this current juncture right now, as I'm recording, I have about 6 hours of video, and I had chopped it down Paul Bunyan style to about an hour, and I'm obviously still recording, so hopefully it's not too much longer. Kind of wrapping up here, so I need to do a better job of editing, or I also need to do a better job of recording. It's not really comfortable, and it's awkward to talk to a camera and have emotion. So I'm working on it, working on pulling, my personality out and through. So bear with me and be patient as I work on it. I feel like I did a lot better job than the intro video, which that one was about an hour and a half long, and I ended up chopping that down to about 10 minutes. So we're making improvements, slow and steady. But like I said, I wouldn't have been able to do this video without you guys. So thank you for all the support on that once again. Now, with that being said, I think these episodes, they may be longer, they may be shorter. It all depends on the content. I'm not going to put hey, these are going to be hour-long episodes or half-hour-long episodes. Whatever the content is, maybe 10, 15 minutes, maybe an hour or two, who knows. I do, however, know that the next episode is going to be a doozy. Just when I started to feel a little bit comfortable with the camera, I'm going to go ahead and fuck it all up and talk about something that's uncomfortable for me. I talk about mental health and parenting. Talk about me, my service dog, why I have one, and how I navigate the whole mental health aspect and navigating a service dog with a family. Going to touch on some sensitive subjects. Definitely need to start taking down some walls and barriers and getting rid of the stigma that we have. So with that, it's going to take me a little bit to write it all out and feel comfortable enough talking about it in front of a camera and still trying to keep it entertaining. It's probably not going to be easy, but there are other people out there who are worse off than me, and hopefully the next episode can shine some light on some things and hopefully help somebody out. So, am I going to be the guinea pig here? I guess. But I can't honestly continue this SAHD podcast without it. I can't expect my kids to talk about something that's bothering them or something that might have happened to them if I can't be open and honest and talk about my mental health. It's hard to know who to turn to, who to trust, especially given this current juncture that we're in where we're so divided as a country. On so many different levels too. So I think it's important to discuss mental health, not just as parents, but also as children too, where their world was turned upside down and they don't really understand what's happening. So I think it's important to, if we're going to expect our kids to talk about, how they're feeling, and we're, as parents, shutting ourselves down because, of stigmas and fear of being judged, I think we need to do a better job of helping each other out. So by doing this episode, I hope it helps somebody. It's not easy. It's uncomfortable. Do I want to talk about it? Fuck no. But we'll get into that in the next episode. So with that being said, it may take a little bit. I would have liked to have at least one more episode out before the new year, but this took way longer than I thought it would. I think I have about 6 hours of total video so far that I've chopped down to 1 hour. So realistically speaking, yeah, this is going to be a tough one. It's going to be an ugly one. This next episode probably won't come out until after the new year. I have family coming down. Also, another reason why this thing took so long to get out was that my son ended up developing an ear infection, and he had finished his amoxicillin and had a follow-up appointment with the doctor. And she looked at his ear and said there was a little bit of fluid behind his ear, and then that night he ended up getting another ear infection. So more sleepless nights, more screaming, crying in the middle of the night, and trying to do this at the same time. It's difficult. But we're going to press on, and we're just going to embrace the suck. So hopefully, the next episodes, I'll have some more spunk coming through. Another thing I want to talk about is my friend Amanda. She went through some serious health issues over the past year and a half-ish, and she was hit with some pretty serious medical bills. She is also still recovering, and she is not really out of the woods yet. I believe she's doing dialysis now 3 days a week. So, yeah, things are pretty rough for her right now. I'm going to leave a link in the description for her GoFundMe page. Anything will help, and if we could pass this information around, that would be absolutely tremendous. I would love to see her goal reached. In hopes of doing so, if we can reach her goal, I will go live and do the one chip challenge. So if you want to see me suffer on that, please spread the GoFundMe page around. Anything would help, whether it's $1, $10, $100, whatever. So let's spread this GoFundMe page around. It would mean a lot to them and the family. So anyway, that's it for this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys look forward to the next one. Now, I had a joke about chemistry, but I don't think I'm going to get a reaction out of it. So, and until next time, SAHD out.
You've been listening to the SAHD Podcast, one of the most unique podcasts on the internet. A show designed for stay-at-home dads, giving you advice, shared experiences, product reviews, insight, inspiration, and heck yeah, we have fun. We hope you enjoyed the show, and we hope you got some useful information from it. We'll be back soon, but in the meantime, hook up with us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Check out the website for merch. Find shirts, hoodies, and mugs at sahdcast.com. That's SAHDcast.com. And to reach out, send an email to bob@sahdcast.com. We'll see you next time.
Stupid. We can't know. Thanksgiving. Talk about Thanksgiving. Sippy sip. Wet the lips. Today. Today. Who does today? Nobody does today. I know I did. What about the rest of your family? Podcast. Sound like Blippi. Take 100. Thank you for tuning in to the first... Cut. Jesus Christ. Nope. Cast. Nope. It's my liquor. You don't lick her. I'm trying to do a podcast here. Cut. Oh, hell no. No, stupid. Hey, that's my alcohol.